Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1 billion, 300 million, trillion market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Morning everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about whether the US sold their entire or almost entire Bitcoin reserve, or if there is some mistake, because even Bitcoin enthusiasts in the government, Cynthia Lummis, could not really confirm or deny that this is happening and has seemed a little bit worried about that. So right now, some journalists are saying that only 29,000 of the original 200,000 Bitcoin are left. And if that is true, then this could explain some of the price action that we have seen across the last months, where Bitcoin price didn't really move for a longer time. So is this true or not? Let's try to shed some light on that. Make sure to stay all the way through. So good morning to each and every one of you. How are you doing, guys? We are obviously never tired to find the latest FUD in this market, but let me show you already, it's all noise. The market doesn't care. It's 118,582 per Bitcoin. Right now, we have broken out of our bull flag. We have reached a new all-time high of 123,000, and right now we have a little bit of sideways dump action that is explained by M2 already, so nothing to do with the Bitcoin reserve in itself. We have a Satoshi era whale wallet that is selling. We will see that also a little bit later. That is also not the US. So let's see what is going on here. And we have Ethereum moving nicely yesterday, 8 to 10% up. We will talk about this as well, because there are some implications for the altcoin season, right? But let's check out the main thing first. So we had this journalist here coming out yesterday, Lola Leeds, and she said, she reacted because someone said, or this guy here said, I will pay $10,000 to the first journalist who can get US Marshals to confirm the quantity of Bitcoin and crypto they are currently holding. And then she posts, hey, David, man of your word, looks like you owe me 10,000. Posting here some basically screenshots on the Bitcoin that apparently the US Marshals are holding. And then here in the comments we see a little bit more. All right, my guys, since we now all have our panties in the jumble over the US government selling their Bitcoin, I'd like to alert you to the fact that there is a difference between seized assets and forfeited assets. The USMS is mainly in charge of forfeited assets, meaning assets that have been made property of the government. The list I received from the USMS is a list of all BTC held by the USMS, so the US Marshals, as requested by DB. The USMS can be in charge of seized assets, but these can also be held with seizing agencies like the DEA or the FBI, meaning that there may be other custody offices than the USMS. So the USMS, on that request, Freedom of Information Act, have basically responded that they hold only 29,000, right? And now this story is circulating. But this difference here is also interesting for the future of the strategic Bitcoin reserve, because if some of the Bitcoin is seized assets and some is forfeited assets, it might be that not all of the Bitcoin applies to the strategic reserve. That is very interesting, right, going forward, because that might be that it's allowed to sell those and they're not part of the strategic reserve. But we will see that a little bit later. But right now, okay, we know that maybe the USMS holding 29,000 Bitcoin only, not the only agency that holds Bitcoin, right? To the geniuses that have linked Arkham's government wallet tracker, these do not seem to be BTC that have been made the government's property, at least not exclusively, which means they can't sell them. So, for example, Arkham lists 94,000 Bitcoin from Bitfinex hack, but forfeiture in the Bitfinex case hasn't been decided at least last time I checked. Ergo, this doesn't mean that the USG has sold any Bitcoin. It just means that whatever these US Treasury sites estimate is likely wrong, as they don't see to differentiate between seized and forfeited coins. So this is an important thing. So now everyone is coming out here on the news, like US Marshals reveal the government now only holds 28,988 Bitcoin worth 3.4 billion instead of the estimated 200,000. And then we have here Cynthia Lummis reacting to that. I'm alarmed by reports that the US has sold off over 80% of its Bitcoin reserves, leaving just 29,000 coins. If true, this is a total strategic blunder and sets the United States back years in the Bitcoin race. I think here there is really now a lack of clarity which coins are where and which coins belong to the US Strategic Reserve and which coins will be able to join the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, right? But as mentioned, Arkham Intelligence is showing 198,000 BTC in holdings, yeah. Basically, and then we see here, right, the transactions in these, right, in these wallets. We have here basically then the explanation: US government Bitcoin wallet major seizures, where this is coming from. 19,800 Bitcoin Silk Road from the Department of Justice confiscated. Then 94,000 from Bitfinex hack recovery, FBI, right here we already see it, FBI, so these are in another wallet. And then 69,000 Silk Road individual, FBI confiscated funds, and then 51,000 James Zhong Silk Road hacker, also probably seized by the FBI. So very original size 235,000 Bitcoin, sold or moved to Coinbase, Prime 8 to 11 months ago 37,000, leaves 198,000 total Bitcoin, spread across the Marshals, the FBI, and the DOJ. So, exactly what Green Lantern says. Sounds like normal bureaucracy chaos. The question is, if everyone, including Trump administration, is not aware that they cannot have both the seized and the forfeited assets in the strategic reserve, then the strategic reserve, in fact and per law, is way smaller than originally announced. And the question now would be: is that actually a bullish thing, where either we can have a bigger share in comparison to these nation-state wallets, like we have 4 more years or so until they do something with it to accumulate more Bitcoin? Or is it a bullish thing price-wise, because they now have to buy more Bitcoin to have the 200,000 Bitcoin actually right? Do they have to buy it and then sell the other ones? I don't know, right? We don't know. We have to wait for clarity. But just to try to bring the full story here, I think there needs to be from the officials some clarity. If Senator Loomis also doesn't know what's going on, I mean, then we should really see what is what, right? Which of these coins is part of strategic reserve or not? That needs to be clarified. But does it have the potential to cause chaos? Not really, because the Bitcoin is not actively sold or anything. It's just about where it sits right now. But if it reveals that maybe 150,000 or so or 160,000 of these Bitcoins can be theoretically sold, then this might cause some FUD, right? Interesting is that let me see where I have it here. We do have one whale for one Bitcoin whale that is selling, right? So this whale sold another 40,000 Bitcoin worth 4.7 billion after buying it for $32,000. 14 years ago. What a legend, it says here. So someone has found apparently their keys to $1 billion fortune, which is nice. And the price doesn't really move on that, which is mainly reasoned by this is sold on OTC desks, right? So this is not. By the way, I do see the comment from Mark D here, but I don't see it in my chat application. So let me increase that chat window so I can see. US dumped so the banks could buy it cheap. Then the US will print trillions to buy it back, sticking the poorest citizens with inflation. Okay, yeah, maybe they will do that. Who knows, right? Maybe they will do that, but they can't really. They can't put it on the taxpayer, at least for now, right? But you might be right down the road. And that Bernard Donaldson is the right topic here. Before we go further into what's going on, let me give a quick shout out to the Rare Hodlers here for always supporting me. We have a couple of them here in the house today. We do have Jonas bringing the coffee. We do have Green Lantern here. We do have Domvu here. Good morning to you, all my Rare Hodlers. And good morning also to the others here, Patrick, Diviner Singh, and Bernard Donaldson. Smash the likes, you're absolutely right. I always forget to ask for that, so make sure to smash up the like button quickly here for the stream. And yeah, let's assess what it means. It doesn't mean much, to be honest. It has the potential for FUD, but the Bitcoin price and where it goes doesn't depend on a half-baked strategic reserve, right? Because we have seen Germany selling off 50,000 Bitcoin. The price moved sideways a little bit during that time, and then we moved on, right? And the demand increased. So it was, in the end, all noise. We're still at 118,600 right now. And no one really remembers that time anymore as something dramatic, right? And there was 50,000 Bitcoin. So at the maximum, if 29,000 are only the strategic reserve, there would be 159,000. Is that correct? Yeah, 159,000 Bitcoin technically. So 3x what Germany has and 2x what this whale here has that is selling. Now the question is, will everyone or will all these sell and be scooped up by the large asset managers? Only if we let it happen, right? But if we accumulate in the bear markets and all the plebs are filling their wallets with some Bitcoin as well, then we will have or continue to have a really good stance here in this game, right? Nation state wise, that would probably set El Salvador in relation way better than when the US has 200,000. We do know, though, that China also has a lot of seized Bitcoin. So the question is, will they at some point sell, or will they just convert stuff like this into a reserve, right? That is the big question. So will there be an official site one day where governments show their strategic reserve, or will they put a ledger into Fort Knox, something like that? But anyways, let's quickly assess where we are in the cycle, because that is something that we want to look at from time to time. Overall, probably we are in a bull market since 14 years, if you want to look at it this way, right? But that's not the point here. What is the point, though, is that we have ignore like the small line, because the more you zoom out, the harder it gets to see the chart under all the lines. But here we go. So a lot of days have passed since the halving, and if we take the halving and go to where we are through 456 days. Okay, that brings us very, very close to the 500-day rule, where apparently the top is coming in, right? And that would be on the 2nd of September, roughly, yeah, something like that, right? I'm on the monthly chart, so it can only jump to months, but okay, fine. If I'm recalling it right, it puts us on 2nd of September for the 500-day rule, right? Interesting is we are very close now to the upper end. I mean, there's still 2 months or so, but we are very close to the upper end of this resistance line on the TSI, right? So hitting the TSI here, here, and here. And then it's going to be interesting how this looks, right? Because then we need to wait out the monthly close on that when this happens. And then we need to assess whether there is a cause to believe that we break this trend line, or if this trend line will be, once again, for a third time, calling the top on Bitcoin. What's the news to make this newsworthy? Because it is the main topic on Twitter right now, and even US senators don't know what's going on, and that is newsworthy, right? I mean, that's like, okay, let's go here and recharge CNBC. Crypto regulator bills move forward after record-setting House vote. What's the news to make that newsworthy, right? I don't know, man. It's information that is out there, and it decides. Let's put it this way. I think the most interesting element of what we have discussed about here is that part of that, what is declared a strategic reserve, might by law not be part of the strategic reserve, right? But you have here a government official basically saying, I am alarmed, right? I mean, what the heck? Yeah. Yeah, you decide in the end if that's worth for you to follow, but I think it's important to know. And also there is a lot of half-truth out there on Twitter right now, so I think we just laying all the facts out for one time could be more interesting to you than just reading up on Twitter in 3 hours and seeing, oh, the US sold their Bitcoin reserve and that's it, right? That's not the truth, right? Yeah, maybe this here also interesting. Crypto regulation bills move forward after record-setting House vote. The future of 3 crypto bills in Congress is uncertain after 2 days of House Republican infighting over the contents of the legislation and the process for moving it. House Speaker Mike Johnson spent around 10 hours trying to unite his conference enough to push through a procedural vote to approve rules of debate for the crypto bills. and an adjacent Pentagon appropriations package. The rules were only approved after a group of no voters flipped to yesers. Let's see if we can see what is actually in this pack. I think it's the CBDC bill. It's the market structure bill, I think. But let's see. Maybe it's in here if I click this. Oh, that's probably a video. Yeah, that's a video. But it doesn't say which ones they are. Price hasn't moved significantly. That's true. Also what I said, right? So the market doesn't care about this type of FUD. It also doesn't care that the like Satoshi Arrow whale is selling 80,000 Bitcoin into the market, which is very strong. Yeah. So there's a lot of buying coming in. If you see also the volume on that, if you go into the daily chart, here we see it, right? This must have been the first sale of this. Maybe not this guy, because I said it before. It's OTC desk, so I don't know. That shouldn't, because this is trading volume, right? So something happened here, and now we are flagging out. Yeah. So it can also not be market data, because this is not really relevant. Not relevant to the Bitcoin price. So yeah. So we don't have anything here for the crypto industry, which gave tens of millions of dollars to House members during their last campaign cycle. The struggle to move the bills was a sharp letdown that threatened to dash hopes of getting a crypto regulation framework passed during what had been billed as Crypto Week. Wednesday's news stumbles also raised question about the scope of President Donald Trump's influence over members of the party he leads. The second attempt to approve the rules came after 11-hour negotiations, and Trump intervention on Tuesday evening appeared to bring one group of holdouts on board. Trump met in the Oval Office late Tuesday evening with about a dozen conservative Republicans. Afterwards, he said they had all agreed to vote in favor of the rule, according to Late Night Truth Social post. Good morning, Patrick Bultman, GM. Can you look at the BTC dominance going down? Altcoin season starts now. Absolutely. ETH is on the move. That is the next story that we have. So we will see what happens. But just quickly, here in the last section, they actually say it. So the 3 bills in question include 1, the Genius Act, which passed the Senate in June, and 2 others that are moving through the House. First, the Clarity Act, and a bill that would bar the Federal Reserve from establishing a central bank digital currency. Now back to the exactly what you're saying, to Bitcoin dominance, because we do see, in fact, that Bitcoin dominance is falling off sharply here. We are down to sub 63% now, 62.9%. And we have Ethereum on the move. And that was one of the parts that we actually predicted, even in the FUD times here, that Ethereum will come back and that Ethereum will lead the charge on this. And we are up quite a bit since this absolute low here on a couple of months ago. And we are up 140% on Ethereum. Yesterday we talked a little bit about how this probably plays out with a breakout, that we are going here up to challenging 3.7, probably find some resistance there, as this is major resistance, break, flip, and then go to a target of above $7,000 per Ethereum. The more important chart again is ETH BTC. we did see or did look at that yesterday as well. It's now very significantly putting in higher highs, which basically says, okay, this is our, we have bottomed here on multi-year support, right? Here we see it. We do have an uptrend, right, now at our hands. And that means that we are in the altcoin season money flow, and maybe I can pull that up somewhere here. 1 second, give me a second. We're going to go to crypto money flow. There we go. You can pull that up also for yourselves. 1 second, I will share it in a bit after I have it here. Okay, there we go. So this is what I meant, right? So when we're looking at Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin and we look to our path to altcoin season, then we see phase 1 was flow of money moves into Bitcoin, causing price surges. That is what we saw the last 3 years almost, right? Then we have the phase overlap. Money flows into Ethereum, but it struggles to keep up with Bitcoin. Ethereum goes back and forth with Bitcoin and starts outperforming it. That's probably what we saw here, right? When we bottomed and then here the sideways, right? But here we have this back and forth here, right? So we are somewhere in this overlap phase. Sorry for that. Where is it now? There it is. Yeah. So we do. So phase 2 is Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, and we hear talks about the flippening. Maybe this, ignore the last part, right? Is that when Ethereum is significantly outperforming Bitcoin, that's where we basically are in phase 2 of that money flow. And then we do have another phase overlap where money is starting to trickle into large caps, where we see large buy-ups happening. This did not yet really happen, right? We are not yet in these large caps where the large caps really go hard. So I would argue that we are somewhere in the overlap or in phase 2 where Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. But I would say Ethereum really will start outperforming Bitcoin the moment it breaks its USDT overhead resistance, where you break out of this, pass all-time highs at 4.5, and then go into price discovery. That's where I would say Ethereum is going to go nuts against Bitcoin. So overall for the market, we do see that even though Bitcoin is a little bit red-ish, we do have coins performing, right? And that is different from all the other months and years in the past. So the last in this cycle since the bottom, where when Bitcoin pulled back, usually we had a higher pullback, multiples of what Bitcoin did pull back. So if Bitcoin had a pullback of 3%, we usually saw at least 10% drawdowns in the alts. Now Bitcoin has a pullback of 3-4%, the alts are green, right? And that is different. So we have pullbacks where in the pullback, the Bitcoin dominance is going down. That shows that we might have also whales selling Bitcoin and moving to alts to ride these waves, right? That is happening right now, and we see it already here. Floki is up 36%. Where is Chris when we need him? And then we have CRV and Bonk close to 25 and a little bit above, and Fartcoin also pumping a little bit. The only coin that is not pumping is, funnily, the pump coin. That's minus 20%. Other coins that have pumped significantly before are slightly correcting, like Pengu and Say. They had their pumps a couple of days ago. And I think this is what we're going to see, that some coins just start moving, start pumping, which is natural because people look for coins that have not pumped yet to allocate money to. And so this is only on the day, right? So let's look at the top 200. So we are across the board like 2-3% up. This is not yet really like the hardcore alt season where everything goes hundreds of percent. We do see a couple of meme coins here leading in the top 200. Toshi is up 18%, Baby Doge up 11%, Mew is up 25%. So meme coins are not dead, right? In fact, people really love meme coins. The reason unclear because people like to gamble, and at least on these coins, it's very clear that this is a gamble, right? But so we have Popcat also 11%, Bread. So more than half of these are memes where actual use case coins do not get the love yet, right? So like here Pendle, EOS, AMP, whatever, right? So we don't see that yet. Let's see top 300. Is there anything interesting going on here? Yeah, also here we see it, right? Melania coin up, NPC, Nero, all meme coins, right? Aura is up 14%. So everything here, a lot of coins, 10, 15% up. Crazy. We did have one of our really nice mover, one of our altcoins in spotlight, which is Mcade. But before we do, just a quick look at Total 2. Again, Total 2 still on the trajectory towards market cap all-time highs. That would be all-time high. The all-time high from wick high is 1.7 trillion, but the real, like the candle body close all-time high on that weekly chart is 1.62 trillion. So yeah, we will see, but it's coming. Where do you think VeChain will go to its alt season? I have some targets in that. Let me take one chart here to go from VetUSDT. So right now we have VeChain moving upwards here. The move is not very high, as many coins have not yet moved, but I would say back to 8 cents is the next, once we complete this double bottom thing here. And then I have targets at 19 and then a Moonboy target at 45. That for when we would really take out all-time highs. Why did I place this one here lower? Because I suspect that many people will, that there are a lot of people that will try to exit out of all-time high territory, and that there's so much profit taking that maybe we underperform. So I'm looking to take major profits before that. And that's why we will maybe underperform that, because so many people will try to look for the same and exit a little bit more here. But for me, it's already locking in profits here at 8 cents, which we reached almost one time here. And we had the same phenomenon, right? Instead of reaching that, the wick just went barely to it. So whatever target you're looking for example, if it's the 16 cents, might be a good idea to already start selling at 14 cents, right? Stuff like that. We will see how this plays out, but I these are my so here this would be exit complete bag, right? But I will decide along the way if I exit it earlier, depending on how the chart looks on the monthly, because I will be looking at this, for example, at RSI. If I see RSIs beyond 80 or something like that here, and the price is at, let's just say, 33 cents, then I might sell there, right? But I can't know that before. How high can you see Pendle go? Let me quickly refresh here, because that will bring me straight back to the Pendle chart, I think. Yeah. Wow. So I would say that is at least in this chart, the high $15. That would be a 3x from here. I think that's like the least to expect. Let me quickly check. So Pendle has Pendle has quite large market cap already. I'd say for Pendle, for a use case like Pendle, and given that they're listed on all the exchanges and so on, it's reasonable to expect 10x from here is possible, I would say. So $40 is possible. I'm not saying it will happen because basically you are then in price discovery. And also here I would look at least what's possible, what's available from the indicator side. But a 10x I think would be possible based on what we've seen in the last altcoin season, right? And we are always saying, okay, we get a full-blown altcoin season here, right? Because that would mean that Pendle goes from 600 million to $6 billion market cap. But you have to see that last cycle, even a 50 coin had $5 billion market cap in the last cycle already, right? So we should expect that everything that's in the top 100 has a couple of $1 billion market cap at the peak. And I mean, you have to see that Dogecoin in the last cycle had $80 billion market cap. Which is absolutely nuts. Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind. And then we take a look at Mcade, as always, as it is in our altcoin spotlight. And Mcade really did a big fat pump here, right? Out of this or within this channel. And that is 133% up. So Mcade has pumped, but if you see, we're looking at it on the weekly, and it's not even overbought in the slightest. We only are at 53, which is barely above bull market support levels, which are usually within the realm of 40, and we see that is also true in the RSI for Mcade. So we did see one time Mcade was overbought at close to 80, and immediately that's where selling came in. Now we are already in the upper half of this accumulation range, and we are not even close, right? So the appropriate thing would be, or the expected thing would be, that we slow down a little bit, the indicator cools off again, we do the next move, cool off, we pump, right? And then breaking out of this zone will introduce the parabolic for Mcade. But we have to see that if we do believe that the altcoin flow that's the flow to altcoin season, then Mcade would go in only in this part, right? Regardless of market cap, some altcoins with strong fundamentals are having pumps in the overlap phase. And then large caps have gone full vertical, and we're seeing blow off tops. Mid caps, low caps, micro caps all tend to pump around the same time. Large caps have been outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. It seems every coin is going parabolic regardless of fundamentals. Memes are everywhere. Okay, this is already true. So here we have a shift from last time to this time. Memes are everywhere. Everywhere is super excited, and you feel the mania in the air. That's not the case yet, right? We don't feel the mania in the air just yet. And we also see it, as you know, I'm now pulling this up every stream, but it fits so well. We do have our search term, Google search trends for Bitcoin at 33, for Ethereum at 5, which is not even, it's not high yet, right? So we are not there yet. We need Ethereum first to really do something crazy, like going into price discovery and so on. And then the plebs will come back and search in Google for the next like big investment that will give them Lambo and Moon. So yeah, that will happen at some point, and that at some point is fairly soon, in my opinion. I think it will not take so long anymore, right? We did have one nice taste of how this could feel in November, when Bitcoin had an all-time high and altcoins did rally quite a bit. And now, slowly but surely, altcoins are approaching these levels. That was also when we had a 7 on the Ethereum searching, and then we had the Ethereum FUD all the way through here, right? NFTs do not appear on the radar yet. Okay, but it will come, in my opinion. It will come. What else is there, right? Yeah, Ecomi. Nothing new here for Ecomi other than I really want to get rid of this. That is, why the heck? Where is the key symbol here? Why? Okay, I'm going to refresh this quickly. Okay, 1 second. We do not look at Pengu here. We are looking at Ecomi USDT, and there we go. Okay, so yeah, we did not since yesterday, basically no movement, other than that we have a small uptrend here going on, but we will have to wait and see. There's no news to tell, right? We hope that this is going to be the bottom here already, right? For Ecomi, one of the few coins that has not shown clear signs of bottom. Yeah. So we will see. Sup boys, hey, pro legendary, what is going on? What else are we looking at? Let's see. Let's go to the top 100 where the most searched or most looked at coins are, and see what is it. It's interesting that IOTA is still in the top 100. It's place 85 and it's a lot in the narrative, right? IOTA is doing really well since they have introduced their staking. Let me quickly. They have now everything on USDC, which is absolutely annoying because there's no chart history. But for example, IOTA, right? We do see that. I mean, look at what IOTA did in the last cycle. This thing went completely, like, from down here. It went 50x. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely degenerate. And I would look at those coins on the monthly, because then you get a notion where you are regarding the RSI and when you are maybe overbought or oversold. Right now we are on such coins in the middle of nowhere, 50 RSI, and potentially do we have something here? Not very clean, right? But maybe some inverse head and shoulders thingy going on here, maybe on the weekly or so. It's more clean because of the candle closes then, but looks like it. Yeah, maybe an inverse head and shoulder closing in here, which would look to me like this. Yeah, something like that, right? Not confirmed, right? Absolutely not confirmed, and will take some time to confirm, but just here for also, wait a second. Is this the retest on a multi-year trend line? You pump out and you retest and you go. It's go time. Maybe IOTA will do crazy things this cycle. I don't have any, so I don't care. But yeah, just as an interesting one. Anyways, guys, for today, that is it. Make sure to smash up the like button to a new all-time high, and let's see what comes out of the strategic reserve FUD. Subscribe to the channel, notifications on. Consider becoming a rare hodler. Join the Telegram group so that you can chat with the rare hodlers here, and wherever you are on the world. Have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. I catch you in the next video or live stream. Have a good one, everyone, and bye.